buy rating recommendation from Exotic Capital. Afrinvest is also giving a buy rating. You don't do rating, but from your professional and analyst point of view, what's your rating?
The key for us is measuring indices that impact on target price. And from all we have done, we see that there is a significant consistency in improvements quarter on quarter in the transformation plans which the First Bank management has put in place. And surprisingly, they're consistent in terms of meeting up on all those numbers. So we see an upward trajectory, and as such, we believe that the trading price will go up. Hence, the buy recommendation by most analysts in the market.
Fantastic. Let's leave that there, folks, and let's go to Diamond. Do you think Diamond is still a diamond in the rough, or there's a rough time here for this lender?
Well, we have to be quite understanding with Diamond Bank. They have some peculiar, what you call peculiar situation. But shrinking the operations from Africa is not necessarily a sign of progress or a sign of strength. But that said, it also means that they have an approach which perhaps is best known to them and not well communicated yet in terms of how they want to make up the numbers, given where the business volume is. They've been suffering a lot of loss, so it's prudent on the part of the management to try to bring everything back while they do some house cleaning. And so for the time being, we're still on a wait and see.
What's your take on this statement by Diamond Bank as to the rationale for coming back home?
My take on it is that they seem to have a different interpretation of the market prognosis than most of us. Well, we'll give it to them that they do have an interest in the mobile market. And I think they are trying to move in anticipation of what the regulators will do, given that the regulators are still unclear as to the scope, the size, and to the extent to which players would operate within the market. It seems also that they have they are laying out their bet on a very, very short case. But that is a function of when and how the central bank really moves to allow them to maximize the opportunities and advantages they see. So what we would worry about is what happens to the integral while all these movements are taking place.
2004, and we're talking about the market right now, if you're trying to reinvent the market. The banks were the big boys, and they've always been the big boys. So let's go back to 2004, 2005, bank consolidation. Do you think consolidation, that momentum that we got in 2004 before the meltdown, talk us through this if you're looking at the banking sector right now?
What exactly is it you want to know? Because if you look at the market segment, the market outlook at the time we did the consolidation, it was about the most meaningful strategy we could employ in bringing about by building stronger banks who can actually engage the market, offer the credits which were needed for the real sector, but most importantly, provide financially stable banks. But if you look at that, despite the fact that we went through repeated cycles of capital raising, the major challenge the banks suffered was not anything to do with the economic conditions as you had it in Nigeria. It was basically more professional misadventures that we have. If you're looking at what we currently have today, you will find that the banks have come of age in terms of how they've been able to expand outside the shores of Nigeria, especially the Tier 1 banks. And to my friend's comments about Diamond Bank strategy, comparing them with Keystone and Skybank may not actually be so far from the truth, because it actually shows the conditions of these banks. But a quick one concerning Diamond Bank. You do know that Diamond Bank has been able to cultivate about 15 million customers. So what these banks are basically doing is like, look, we might have overstretched ourselves. We do not have the resources in place to actually play these markets in a more efficient way. Maybe if we consider the use of technology and we consider building up our base in Nigeria with our customer spread and deliberately trying to garner low-cost funds, we can actually strategically adjust our books. That is not a bad idea, but it's not something that's going to be a significant push for an upward trajectory for those banks in the next 2 to 3 years. there is a lot more that needs to be done because the games have actually changed. The macro environment has changed. The sectors where funds are coming from have changed. The ability for banks to be financially much more stable, have access to deposit mobilization far much more. It's getting much more tougher.